You're a top-rated virtual assistant on Upwork with the top-rated badge, and that you're level 2 status on Fiverr. There are many ways to find your first client. And if you're familiar with my channel, you know that I talk pretty much only about getting clients by yourself through networking, through LinkedIn. And that's because I don't have experience working on platforms like Upwork or Fiverr. But you are thriving on the platforms. If you could start by walking us through your decision to be on these freelance platforms and how you got started on them.
Well, I started freelancing really. I started as a freelancer, not virtual assistant, back in 2019. And at that time, I had a full-time job. The job was paying me around 40 to 45,000 naira. That was like $100 per month at that time. And it was tough. It wasn't enough really. I had to take care of myself and my family. So I was looking for a way to start earning some extra income outside of my job.
Nice.
And that's when I started searching for how to make money online. At that time, I didn't even know I will start freelancing or virtual assistance. I was just looking for a way to make some extra income outside of my job. And when I started searching for how to make money online, I came across all the things you see when you search for how to make money online. Blogging, affiliate marketing, a lot of these things. And I tried a lot of them and nothing works until I discovered freelancing. And when I discovered freelancing, that is where I started making my first money online. And even when I started, really, I don't even have a personal computer. And I couldn't afford to buy a computer at that time. But I work as an administrative assistant. So I have a computer in the office.
Oh, wow.
And my office computer is what I really even used to create my account, my freelancer account on freelancer.com. I knew it was illegal, but I just had to do something. And that is what I had at that time. So that is what I really used. And when I started as WordPress web designer.
Oh,
because I tried blogging. And in order to do blogging, I need a website. So I had to create a website. Since I cannot hire someone to build a website for me, I had to learn how to build the website myself. So I built the website. I tried blogging. It didn't work. When I discovered freelancing, I said, okay, since I tried creating a website, I have a little bit of experience building a website, even though I had only one website, maybe I can start as a freelance web designer.
Brilliant.
And that is what I did. I started as a freelance WordPress designer using templates and page builders because I had very limited skills. And that's really how I started. Going off to say years, then I decided to become a virtual assistant. In short, this is how I get started.
Oh my gosh, I just want to applaud you and remind everyone watching, most people that want to start as a virtual assistant or freelancer think that they have to have many, many, many skills or years of knowledge, when the truth is, you can get started as a virtual assistant if you just know a little bit more than your clients. So the fact that you started after building your website and you thought, I'll learn as I go, I'll learn more, is just brilliant. Brilliant. So I love that story. And I'm so glad that worked out for you. So
Yep.
What made you switch to virtual assistants?
Well, the main thing that made me switch to virtual assistants is there is more benefit for me being a virtual assistant than a freelancer. One major benefit is being a virtual assistant, I don't have to deal with different clients every week. Because working as a freelancer, you are working with different clients every week. Yes. When I found one client, I will be thinking, are they going to give me a hard time? Are they going to be good? There is always that challenge. But working as a virtual assistant, I know I can find 2 or 3 clients and I can work with them for years.
Yes.
So if I found good client, I won't have to have that headache of dealing with new client consistently. And another benefit also, I don't have to worry about finding new client every week. If I just find few clients, then I'm set. I don't have to find new client every week.
Absolutely.
And additionally, since I work as an administrative assistant, so I know how to use Excel, I have all the basic skills. That's also all I needed really to start virtual assistants. So the benefit really is way higher for me being a virtual assistant than sticking to freelancing.
a factor about virtual assistants that I love is long-term clients. It's a lot more stable and a lot less stressful. That's
Yes.
so great. So I'm curious to know what your first steps were when you found Upwork and Fiverr, because you're doing so well on these platforms. And I tend to find them quite difficult because I feel like there's a lot of competition, and I really don't know how to make yourself stand out on those platforms. So do you have any, how did you optimize your platforms or even find your first clients?
Well, two things. The first one is you have to be willing to go the extra mile if you want to succeed in freelancing platform. And the second thing is it takes time to learn. Because when I started, I chose freelancer.com and I made so many mistakes. I had to abandon the profile and start fresh on Fiverr. And when I started on Fiverr, I was struggling with it. When I was freelancing, I was struggling. I managed to find one agency client. And since they are an agency client, they started giving me projects consistently. And one day Fiverr simply decided to shut down my account for no reason. And I couldn't get the account back. And I had to restart again. So there were a lot of these challenges. And during the years, what I really learned is when you just get started, you are going to be making mistakes. And you will not know you are making the mistakes until you stick to it. When you stick to it, you are doing it every day. Eventually, you will be fixing minor mistakes. You will be fixing this, fixing that, and you will be better at writing proposals, and you will be better also at going after the right type of client. That is going to give you really... and when you start it, you have no client review. It is always going to be the hardest time. But when you find the first client and they give you your first 5-star review, it is going to be easier to find your second client. So on freelancing platforms, any freelancing platforms, finding your first client is the hardest challenge. And in order to overcome this challenge, you have to really do it consistently. When you do it consistently, you will learn how to write better proposals. You will learn how to optimize your profile and have it better. Because no matter how you prepare, if you are just getting started, you cannot have 100% good profile. You are going to have profile with some errors. And the only way to have a good profile is to do it consistently. And the second thing is you have to be willing to go the extra mile. You see, when you start as a complete beginner, you have nothing to show that will prove to potential client that you know what you are doing. And if you send a proposal on Upwork or Fiverr, you cannot really send proposal on Fiverr. But if you send proposal on Upwork, already other freelancers, other virtual assistants sent their proposals. And among the ones that send their proposals, a lot of them have fast client reviews, fast work sample. So why will a potential client pick you over someone with experience on the platform? That is where going the extra mile comes in.
Okay.
Because as a complete beginner, if you want to really stand a chance, you have to have a sample work that is going to attract potential client. If, for example, I want to hire someone to do maybe social media graphic design for me or social media manager, I just want someone to do the job, someone who can get the job done right. And if you send me a proposal and you include your work sample, a very attractive social media graphics that you created, if I really like those social media graphics, I'm going to feel I need you. I need to hire you. It doesn't matter what anyone else write in their proposals. If your sample is good enough, I'm going to want to talk to you. And so that is why
brilliant.
having attractive work sample is key when you are working on a freelancing platform. Even though you are just getting started, you don't have any past client, you never work for anyone else. What you just need to do is just do the work as if a client hire you to do the work for them. And that is going to be the key. I'm going to give you an example. Okay. There was a client I wanted to work for them. They are a digital marketing agency. And I really wanted to work for them because I want to learn about what they do. I want to have experience on digital marketing.
Yeah.
And before I send them my proposal, I see there are around about 30 to 40 proposals already on Upwork. And I really want to get the job. And at that time, I wasn't even a top-rated virtual assistant. So I don't have that age. But what I did was, instead of just writing a proposal and attaching some work samples, I did that. I write a very short proposal. I attach a lead magnet graphic sample. I send them some graphics for social media, and then I record a video of myself.
Brilliant.
What I should have wrote, all the things I should have wrote in the proposal, I said it in the video, and I attach a link with my proposal. So that gave me the edge. After I had an interview with them, before the interview finished, I asked the interviewer, the person who interviewed me, why did you decide to interview me, just as a means of getting a feedback? And he said, these are the exact word he used. He said, because you went the extra mile. And I ended up getting the job because I did went the extra mile. All the people who sent proposals, nobody attached a video proposal. And in the videos, you were able to see me, hear my accent, see my working space. So that answered a lot of their questions, and they felt a lot more comfortable with interviewing me. Yeah, so those are the really key things.
That is such a good tip. I could stop the whole video right here, right now. Because I think that applies both to if you're wanting to work on a platform or if you're not wanting to work on a platform, or both. What you've just said also is you humanized yourself. You're not just a random name behind a laptop, a screen. You are a person, and they can see you and know that you're real and trustworthy. And I'm also glad that you talked about creating your own sample of work, because it's something I will tell students to do as well. If you've never had any clients before, don't wait. I feel like your ethos of your business is take action, which is so great, because if you want to work with a social media client, create your own graphics, like you said, and at least show them what you are capable of working with. How do you handle, although I suppose you just answered it, how you handle competition on these platforms, because these platforms are quite full, but I suppose you continually go above and beyond.
Well, when you talk about what is your passion, you just say it all. And yeah, it's true. The competitions on freelancing platform is huge, and it is not going to get easier. The competition is not going to get easier because more people are deciding to become virtual assistants. Yeah. But at the same time, more businesses are also hiring virtual assistants. Yeah. So really to just say it in a short, you just need to go the extra mile. If you do what other people are not doing, then you give yourself an edge.
Do you have any tips for people who are starting with these platforms for ways that they can optimize their platform? If you had to pick one or two tips to help them maybe avoid mistakes that you made yourself, how could they make their platform their profile as best as it could be?
The first tip I have is don't stretch yourself too thin. There are a lot of freelancing platforms, and if you decide to go after all of them, you are going to waste a lot of time doing a lot of work that is not going to pay off. So the first advice is pick two. Fiverr and Upwork are the best in my opinion. So choose Fiverr and Upwork and put all your energy into. I know there are a lot of freelancing platforms, and if you are just getting started, it will be tempting to go after every platform to create your account everywhere. But that is not going to help you because you are just going to spend a lot of time trying a lot of different platforms, and you will end up not having a one standard great profile. So my advice, the first one is stick to two platforms, Upwork and Fiverr. Later, after you find a few clients, then you can decide on your own if you want to branch out. For example, if you want to work for YouTubers, people who have a YouTube channel or podcast, there are platforms that are specific to those kind of people. But sticking to the general ones is a great idea when you are just getting started. When you have some experience, then on your own, you can decide if you want to move to another platform. Great. But that is the first tip I have. Yep. And the second tip is you really need to sell yourself if you want to find a client on a freelancing platform, because they don't know you. And there are a lot of options. They have options. If you don't give them a reason, you are not going to hear back from potential client. So the first thing is you have to go after the right client. I see there was a time when I was showing someone how to really use Upwork.
Okay.
And after a month, they complained they couldn't find clients. Nobody ever responded to their proposal. So I said, show me how you do it.
Yeah.
How you find clients entirely. And one major mistake I see is he did not put enough time to really even understand the project. On Upwork, you see at the bottom of a project description, a client will have specific requirement. Some client will say they want a virtual assistant in a specific country. Some client will want a virtual assistant who speaks certain languages. Some client will want a virtual assistant who meets maybe 80% job success score or 90% job success score. So if you don't meet all of those criteria, if you send your proposal, you are not going to hear back because you do not meet the requirement. So before you even send your proposal, make sure you are fit for the job. Make sure you meet all the client requirements. Because if you don't meet their requirement, you are wasting your time. You are not going to hear back from them. And the third thing, which is a final tip, to make it short, which is a final tip that I have, is your proposal is the first line of communication between you and the potential client. So if the proposal is not right, it doesn't matter if you contact 100 potential clients, you are not going to hear back from them. So spend enough time into writing a good proposal that speak directly to what they are looking for. If you have one template and you just send that template to every client, there is a very low chance. I don't think you are ever going to get any response because they have options. And if you are just sending template, or if you use ChatGPT to write one template that you send to everyone, you are not going to hear back from them. Make use of your portfolio. Spend enough time to understand the job description and write a proposal that directly speaks to them. And if English is not your first language, always use Grammarly to proofread your proposal. Because if you send a proposal full of grammatical errors, no one is going to respond to you. So in short, those are the three things that you want to focus on when you are just getting started on a freelancing platform.
Those are such wonderful and valuable tips, and I hope that everybody watching this video today really takes those to heart. And I also agree with everything you said. Whether you're on a platform or not, it is exactly the same. If you're reaching out to people as an individual or through their websites or through social media or through LinkedIn, if you're just sending generic introductions to your services and you're not customizing it to their needs, their problems, or even making it clear that you looked at their own websites, clients aren't interested. So it's really interesting and great to hear that it's the same for the platforms. I like that a lot.
Yeah. And sometimes you see, sometimes because beginners, you can send 10, 20 proposals in a day. You will think it's a lot of work to read all the job descriptions and write one proposal specifically for each one project. But that is what is going to give you the chance. I would rather send one proposal a day that is personalized and I put more effort into it than send 50 proposals that are just template copy and paste. Because with that, you have a chance. With a copy and paste template, your chance is very, very, very small. So I would rather send fewer proposals, but put enough time and effort and energy into writing a good one.
Oh, I love it. It is so easy and clear to see why you are such a stellar, top-rated virtual assistant, because you are doing everything right. You are brilliant.
Well, it takes time.
And it takes time. It does. Yeah. Before I let you go, I don't want to take up all your time. Do you have any last gems of wisdom that you want to share with people who would like to be on these platforms? Anything you can think of that we haven't touched base on?
There is one way to guarantee you do not succeed as a virtual assistant, and that is by thinking about it, not actually doing it. There are a lot of reasons not to do it. You can wait for a mentor, for example. You can wait until you have a lot of skills. You can wait until this is right, until you get this right. You can wait forever, and you will never succeed if you are waiting until you succeed. You have to just get started. You will be making mistakes when you start, and that is inevitable. There is no way around it. You have to start, make those mistakes, and eventually you will figure out the mistakes you are making, and you will fix the mistakes, and you will become better at it, because everything gets better by time. I personally started on freelancer.com, and I had to abandon the profile on freelancer.com because I made so many mistakes. But I still make it because I made the mistakes, and I saw the mistakes I made. Eventually, I fixed mistakes, and I became better at it. So get rid of all that excuses, all that procrastination, and go all in. If you go all in, you are going to figure out how to do it. If you have a reason to do it, you are going to do it. So if you go all in and you just get rid of all that excuses of waiting for a mentor or learning this skill, becoming better at this, becoming better at that, that is a way to go. So that's the final advice I have. Stop waiting for anything and just get started. Make mistakes and get better on the process.
There's no better way to end this video than to take action. So thank you so much for your time today. This was so invaluable. I learned a lot from you today, so thank you for taking the time.